What's up, everybody? We are here at the Siggraph showroom floor at the Maxon booth, watching some great presenters today. One who just went a little bit ago was Mr. Josh Johnson. How are you?
Pretty well, thank you.
How'd your presentation go? You went over motion tracking and a lot of the new features in R20.
Yeah, so being a visual effects guy, anytime a new features come out, I'm always looking at how I can utilize my visual effects. And in R20, there's brand new motion tracking updates, especially related to the manual tracking. And manual tracking is really important. I mean, auto tracking is like, okay, whatever. Manual tracking is where 3D trackers really make their money, which is why 3D trackers exist as a job, because if it's auto track, anybody can do it. But so manual tracking, you have to really get in there and do a lot of work. But with R20, the manual tracking is there, but it's very automated as well, which is pretty amazing. So if you had a chance to see my presentation, you can see that I manual track this pretty tough shot, but Cinema 4D allows to create what they call virtual keyframes automatically as I'm manual tracking. So just really smooths the process.
Yeah, I was so impressed with the footage that you shot and that you were tracking. I was watching it during your run through a few days ago, and you said, oh, let's go ahead and track something here. I'm like, wait, there's a dot there, and it was still able to chew through it, no problem, I found, so watching this and seeing the new features with the new motion tracker and stuff, it's so much better, exponentially better.
Exponentially better. I mean, to the point of, maybe previously I may not even have attempted to do it, object tracking wise, especially in cinema, but now it's going to be the first thing I use, quite honestly. I mean, because I'm going to be in 3D program, I'm going to be in cinema anyways, so why not start there? And now I can actually start there and get my job probably done faster inside cinema now.
Dude, and the way, doing the individual points and being able to manually track them, I was telling the guys, at Maxon, basically giving them a high five saying, if you were to do this in After Effects, it's like chug, 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 but it's like literally you click it and it's like, boom, it's done.
Before I didn't even say a word, it was tracked. I was like, what?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And so the addition of the little screen where you can actually see it close up, that's a huge, fantastic thing. It's something that very similar to Mocha, Yeah,
so in addition to the features for manual tracking, there's a whole new layout in R20 for motion tracking specifically, and that'll really utilize manual tracking. And so that actually, for me, takes it to a level of actually like a standalone 3D tracker, like Synthesize is what I use a lot. So that actually brings it to an area where I feel like I'm using a completely standalone, professional level 3D tracker right inside of cinema.
Yeah, and it's awesome because then you don't have to export out the camera and bring it back in and all that other stuff. It's great. So another thing you went over was some of the new Olympic stuff. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So some of the Alembic files, the features we see now is, one, you can actually export selected as Alembic. So inside your file, if you have some stuff going on, maybe a clone or some crazy stuff happening, you can right-click on that and just export that, bake it out, and replace it so it comes back into your scene without you having to go find it and import it.
Killer feature.
Just really streamlines workflows. And on top of that, if you're working in, say, a different program, or if you did a different simulation inside Cinema 4D in a different file, you baked it out in Alembic, brought it into your scene, you can actually retime the Alembic file now, which is really amazing. So you can retime it by percent, and there's also an F curve, so you can get real precise of how you want to retime the footage, or retime the Alembic file, I should say.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's like, okay, I'm going to create all this cool Mography stuff, and then I'm going to export it out as an Alembic so that it plays a little bit smoother. I don't like how fast that goes. I'm going to retime it, and you don't have to go back and do it all again.
You can just do it right in there in real time, basically, too. So it's really, really helpful. And then the other feature I talked about that relates to me visual effects-wise, but I think it relates to motion designers, really everybody, is the new multi-instance feature in R20. So, related to the cloner object or an instance object, where now we can clone literally millions of objects and switch to different parameters and really not have much of a viewport slowdown whatsoever.
In your scene, you had a whole bunch of trees, and you went through and did the multi-instance. How many polygons were there?
So in one of the renders I showed, there was actually 3 million trees, and each tree was 700,000 polygons. So if I do some math, which I'm not good at, roughly it's over 400 billion polygons that Cinema 4D chewed, no problem.
You need some exponentials for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so doing a lot of VFX, in your work. One that I love of some of your work that you helped out. It was the David Lewandowski. Was it Time for Sushi? Yeah, and you also helped out on the one right before that, the second one, which was
Late for Meeting.
Late for Meeting. Yeah. What was What now? Did he like throw this out to you and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do another one of these. Do you want to help out?"
Yeah, pretty much. So I've worked with David on several projects, like a Flying Lotus music video, another music video, some tracking on that, and some simulation stuff. So we're usually we're always in contact. We're good friends, and so after he told me he was doing another one, I was like, whoa. It's going to be crazy, and sure enough, it is super crazy, but it's awesome. So on the third one, all I did was 3D tracking. Hey, tracking, motion tracking. But so I tracked like 4 shots, some pretty difficult ones. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. So, okay, cool. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at vfxdaily.com is my website. Twitter, VFXDaily, Instagram, JoshVFX.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
All right, so from the Maxon showroom floor, Siggraph 2018, stick around for more videos coming up next.